Hello and welcome to the second class of the Absolute Beginner Spanish course on SpanishIsGreat.com. In this second class we are going to learn how to read Spanish, like of course the basics, no? We are going to learn how to read Spanish. In other words, we are going to learn the basic correspondence between letters, spelling and sounds, okay? In general, we will see that there is actually, let's say, good correspondence between Spanish letters and Spanish sounds. In general, if you find this letter, it's almost always going to be this sound, the same sound, not like in English, which to be honest is quite crazy, no? You will see that at first it is quite easy, as the Spanish spelling system is quite consistent, not totally consistent, but quite consistent. Most letters match with one sound and most sounds match with one letter. So both ways work like maybe 90% of the times, no? Like one sound is always one letter is always one sound, like 95% of the times. Okay, Spanish letters and how they sound. The Spanish alphabet has 27 letters, so actually at least one more than English, plus some other combinations of letters required to represent some sounds. So what does this mean? Like we have 27 letters, A, B, C, D, E, etc. And then we also have combinations of letters. Also in English we have combinations of letters. So for example, the sound ch, in English we have to use two letters, no? Ch. Also in Spanish we are going to have these kind of things, okay? Okay, so let's begin. Spanish has only 5 vowels, so this is super easy. Or maybe not, we'll see. A, E, I, O, U. That's it. Also, we have 5 letters, 5 vowels. That's it. In English, you know that, for example, I don't know if you know, but in English, depending on the variety of English, there are like 12, 13 or more vowels, okay? So there is a big difference here, no? Spanish has only 5 vowels, A, E, I, O, U, no? They always sound the same. If we find this letter, it's A. If we find this letter, it's E. I, O, U. That's it. Then I say here, as simple or not as that, because actually we are going to see that apparently it's not so easy to for English speakers. Okay, but later. Now let's go with consonants. Most of them are quite similar to their English counterparts, so it is going to be easy. Let's begin. B. Of course, I'm going to pronounce the names of the letters. We see, or I guess you can see, that I don't actually write the name of the letters because in my experience it doesn't really matter, because then people don't remember them. Okay, so I don't even bother to write the name of the letter, but I'm going to say the name of the letters. Okay, the letter B represents B, quite easy, as in banana. Oh, and of course, I'm reading words in Spanish, no? Banana. So we see that it's not banana, no? Banana, banana. Always a, no? Banana. Okay, C represents ka, no? Ka. In the sequences ka, ko, ku, and represents the sound th, as in English think, no? So this is, of course, here I'm using these phonetic symbols. Most of them are quite easy, it's not going to be hard, but, well, some of them you might not know. So now we learn that this kind of thing represents the sound for think, which also exists in Spanish, okay? So, ka-ko-ku, no? Ka-ko-ku, and then thi. And here you might see, no, that I have this theta or s, okay? Because as you might know, in like all Latinos, for example, they wouldn't say circo. They wouldn't say circo, they would say circo, circo, circo. Okay? Then, what is better? None of the options is better. It doesn't matter what other people tell you. None of the options is better. None of the options is worse. They are just two different options. Okay? But there is no better option. Okay? Both are just fine. Just like, if you can, I would recommend you to pronounce it theta. Okay? First, because, well, I'm going to be pronouncing theta because in my variety of Spanish I pronounce theta. And second, because if we learn to pronounce, for example, cepillo and circo, we are not going to have spelling problems. Because, for example, if we pronounce cepillo and circo, then, for example, if I say cebolla. So, cebolla, what is cebolla? Cebolla? Cebolla or cebolla? No? If we pronounce all of them with S, then we don't know the spelling. Okay, so this is just a recommendation from me. But as I said, there is no, like linguistically, there is no better choice. Okay, then for your spelling, distinguishing is better. Okay, so we see kakoku and thi. Then we'll see this other letter, okay, but not yet. As in caro, coche, cuchillo, cepillo, circo. Caro, expensive. Coche, car. Cuchillo, knife. Cepillo, brush. Circo, circus. D represents de, ¿vale? Quite easy. As in dedo. Okay? F represents F. O sea, sorry. F represents, as in English, no? As in farmacia, farmacia, normal. G represents ge in the sequences ga, go, gu, and or no? Depending also on the variety. Like, for example, in English there is like to have, no? Ha, 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 so, with H. But also in some Latino, most Latino varieties. But then we have, in Spain mostly, we have not h, but h, ¿vale? It's fine. Both pronunciations, again, are fine. In the sequences G, G. Then we'll see more details on this, as in gato, gobierno, gula, so cat, govern, gula. How to translate gula? Gula is this capital sin where, which makes you eat a lot. I don't remember now in English, but you know what I mean. Then genio, genius, y girar, to turn, no, to turn, girar. H is always, and you see here an asterisk, okay? A silent letter in Spanish, as in English, air or honor. Okay, so we don't pronounce H in Spanish with an asterisk. We'll see later. Then the letter J represents this sound, again the same sound, as in jefe, boss. K represents K, but is rarely used, as in kilómetro. Kilometer, as you can imagine, because in Spain we use kilometers. L represents L, and you see that I don't say L, no, we don't say that in Spanish. We say leche, no leche, okay? Leche, not leche. M represents as in mano, hand. N represents as in naranja, orange. Ñ, so here's a new letter, you might know it, no? Ñ represents this sound which doesn't exist in English, no? Ñ, no? As in España, okay? This is a sound that you have to practice. Not now because we are just starting, but you have to take it into account. Then P represents P, as in pañuelo. Now we go with this letter Q. La letra Q represents K, but only in the sequences que, ki. And you see that que, ki, U is silent. Okay, so que, ki, as in querer, to want, quinoa, quinoa. Then R, no? R represents ere or R. So you see, or you might see, or hear, that there is a difference between ere, or R. This is also, I would say, probably the most difficult sound of Spanish for English speakers. But, well, also you have to practice. Not now, but later, at home. So, in general, one R is R, or R at the beginning of a word. So, for example, we have pero, but, ropa, clothes. No? S represents S, no? As in salsa, normal. Then you might hear, for example, people from the north of Spain that they pronounce S, which kind of sounds like sh, as in shower. But don't pay attention to that, okay? It doesn't matter. Just like S, normal S. It's fine. T represents te, as in tener, to have. Then, super important. La letra V represents B, for real. So, there is no sound V in Spanish, okay? There is no sound V in Spanish. So, we pronounce V as the letter, we pronounce la letra V just the same as la letra B, okay? So, for example, this we don't say vaca. That doesn't exist in Spanish. We say vaca, okay? Cow. W represents the sound, or B in some words. But in general, we don't find it in Spanish, so you don't really have to worry about that. Then, la letra X represents, you see, it might be either KS or just S. Usually just S, okay? Like in normal conversation, just S. Unless you want to be super correct, then you pronounce KS. So, for example, we say examen. Many people just say examen. Maybe with this S a bit heavier, let's say examen. But if you want to be super correct, then you can say examen, okay? Then Y, literally Greek I, represents Y or I when it means and, okay? Or at the end of a word, as in yo, I, so we see yo, I, and rey, king. And then la letra Z represents, of course, th or S, as in zapato or zapato, shoe. Okay, so here's like the normal or single, let's say, single consonants, how they sound in general 99.99999% of the times, but we are missing a few combinations of letters necessary to represent all the Spanish sounds. Okay, so here we see that we have the same combination we have in English. So it represents this sound. Okay, so we also try to learn that this represents the sound ch, as in chorizo. Okay, then double L represents y or y in some speakers, but this is rare. Okay, so in general we see that this sound Like double L is the same sound as Y. Okay, llover, to rain. Then we have double R, represents R, as in perro. So we see, because we saw that there is also the word pero. So we see they are two different words. Pero, but, perro, dog. Okay? So you have to be quite careful with the pronunciation. Pero, perro. Then, this we already know, no? So, bueno, la letra Q con U represents K, only used in the sequences que and ki. Remember, silent U, as in querer, quinoa. We already know. Then, la letra G plus U represents ge, normal ge, only used in the sequences ge and gi, where we have silent U, as in guerra, or guitarra. So war, guitar, as we can imagine. And then you see that there is a difference here. We have GU, and here we have GU with diéresis, which is like these two dots on top of the U, no? Represents gu, no? Only used in the sequences we, gui. So remember, here ge, gi, silent U, but here we, gui. U is not silent. Okay, so that's the difference. As in vergüenza, shame, and pingüino, penguin, as you can imagine. Okay, so that's a lot, okay? But as we saw, most of the things are more or less similar. No? Try to make a good comparison with English and you will see that they are rather similar or kind of similar. Then, let's, before finishing this class, let's review the probably the most common reading mistakes that English speakers make. You are just starting out, but you would be surprised by the amount of intermediate and even advanced students who keep making these basic reading mistakes. These are quite basic, I would say, no? So remember, if we want to pronounce ka, ke, ki, ko, ku, ka, ke, ki, ko, ku, it's ka, ke, ki, ko, ku. So you see that the spelling is different, no? Ka, ke, ki, ko, ku. Then the same with tha, the, thi, tho, thu. Then the same with ga, ge, gi, go, gu. And then the same with gua, gue, gui, guo. And there is no gu, okay? There is no gu in Spanish. Never pronounce the letter H unless it's combined in che. Oh, then it's che, like in chorizo, no? But if H appears by itself, then we don't pronounce it. Never ever pronounce the letter V as V, because it doesn't exist in Spanish, really, for real. It doesn't matter what you might find online, it doesn't matter what other people on YouTube say, it doesn't matter, nothing matters, nothing at all. Believe me, Spanish does not have the phoneme V. It doesn't have this sound, okay? Then, Spanish doesn't have the phoneme Z. No, we have seen before that there was no letter for the sound Z, as in, for example, zu, okay? Why is that? Because Spanish doesn't have the sound Z, okay? Most Spaniards pronounce the letter theta just as the English tha in think. So the letter theta is not for Z, because Z doesn't exist in Spanish. So just th. But as I said, S is also perfectly fine. So zapato or zapato. I know it is hard, but do try to distinguish between R and R. Oh, there is a difference between pero and perro. Also hard, but try to minimize the aspiration in stressed P, T, que. No, so for example, Paco, pa. No, Paco, okay? Like English speakers say Paco. Actually, there is this Friends gag where Joey is doing some movie with some actor, super famous actor, and this actor is spitting all the time on his face, and actually it's always in these letters, no? So I mean, of course, this is an exaggeration. It's a joke, no? But I mean, there is a reason for it. Okay, so Paco, not Paco. Then patata, not patata. Coche, not coche. Okay. So just that. Patata, not patata, not patata, not Paco, not coche. Okay. So Paco, patata, coche. And actually, right now I don't have any paper. Now I do have some toilet paper here, and some like a very decent exercise or way to see how much we aspirate is to just put a piece of paper just here, like this distance from your mouth, and then say Paco, Paco. You see, it doesn't move. Paco. But then an English speaker would say Paco. It moved. Paco, 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 Paco. Okay? Then for example, patata, patata. It doesn't move. Patata. It moved a bit. Patata. Moved. Or coche, coche. You see? So practice with that. Also remember that the Spanish pure vowels, that is a, e, I, o, u, are always simple vowels. There are no diphthongs in que or Rodrigo, Rodrigo. Okay, so what do I mean with this? We have e, so we pronounce e. We don't pronounce a, because English speakers usually say k. I mean, first they say this k, k, and then they say k, k. No. Then Rodrigo, no Rodrigo. Okay, Rodrigo, O-I-O, O-I-O, no O-I-O, okay? Rodrigo. Of course, all this needs to be elaborated upon, no? Of course. There are specific pronunciation courses, actually, no? Actually, I have one, but not yet. And they take hours, but for now, it is more than enough. Okay, so this is the end of this second class. See you in the next one.